Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here, and get ready for Gnosis. Well, I want to talk about the book 21st Century Radionics by Nick Franks. Nick Franks is a Brit. He is apparently was involved in the music industry, manufacturing electronic devices of some sort, and always had problems with some basic nagging illnesses, particularly bad colds, flus, etc., and nothing really seemed to help him very much. So he was then referred to, hey, why don't you try this, buddy? Called homeopathic. So he got involved and tried these homeopathics, just like most people would, with the fact of, hey, let's see if they work. Nothing else is doing much work. So he got great results for this, and this spurred his information to get involved in the entire field of basically homeopathy machine-based. And he got interested in particularly in how are these made in the traditional fashion, and also how are these made through the different homeopathic remedy makers. Now, the originator of a lot of this was Malcolm Ray, and I'll do a little talk on him as well. But Malcolm Ray made up this card system, made up devices where you could make up your own homeopathic remedies. I'm not going to go into a lot of that here. We'll talk about that. But these machines were popular and ultimately evolved into a magnetic transfer system. Malcolm Ray made many different machines and over 2,500 cards you inserted for pretty much everything, not only homeopathic preparations, but feelings, emotions, and I believe there are even some physical situations gone into as well. So, this is something that has been around for many, many years. I'm not sure when he was all that active, Malcolm Ray, who's been dead for quite some time, but you're talking about he made many, many different machines. The person who also was involved in that, doing something very similar, because Malcolm Ray was big into dowsing, and was Bruce Copen. And Bruce Copen made these kind of card machines as well. And this is where Franks got involved in all this, and having a background to make electronic instruments, he apparently has done this as well as other things. He also has written this book, 21st Century Radionics. Now, the problem with this book is that it's a very good introductory book. It talks about different things. I don't quite agree with some of his even historical information, but he goes into the history of it, gives you kind of a background of radionics, kind of as a catch-all book. This was written to, which I don't think anybody can really refute, was written to publicize him and his organization where he wants to sell instruments, plain and simple. So he went into the background of what's considered radionics. He's involved in the radionic industry. He is a member of the Radionic Association. He's a member of the Psychotronic Association in America. And these are all things that, of course, people are involved in. And he does seem to be serious, even though I tend to get the feel for him that he's very money motivated, not seeking truth and to help people. He wants to make the bucks. And only that. I don't really feel there's that much more sincerity with him, even though he is producing what he considers valid technology to do this with. And of course, this book talks about everyone that is known, from Albert Abrams, Ruth Drown. He talks about the general history, and it's all very, very common, very well known to anybody who's been in this field. So if you're a person who has any experience, you're not going to find his book very interesting, and I've told him that. I corresponded with him for a while, giving him emails, etc. He was very closed-mouthed. He wouldn't share anything. I did buy one of his plates, which he claims one of these kind of Tesla purple plate type things. I had the same energy those machines had in it. They could do miracles. Well, I got 2 of his plates, and they did nothing. So here we go again. I said they are not, of course, like the other ones, but this is basically, from what I can tell, what's in the core of his machines. They may be dials on them. He may be using cards, but They are amplified by using this kind of nanotechnology where certain sigils are carved into these tiny little plates. I should say tiny images are carved into these plates, which run 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches in general, about the size of a credit card. Certainly these plates did nothing. So another thing, if you're going to do that, and of course that hurts his credibility as a manufacturer in my book. So I'm not sure what they were supposed to produce, but they didn't produce nothing. When I used them to energize standard world realities, when I used them to energize health situations, they didn't work. Now, his technologies are pretty much very standard Malcolm Ray, Bruce Copen, and I've covered this in my lecture on him. So if you're interested in radionics, this book, I read everything. So, you get everything you can. There isn't exactly a mountain of work in this area. So, hey, this is a good little informational book. I do recommend it for that. There isn't really anything good in there. He's not going to tell anybody, apparently, how his technology works or even give you an idea of it. He's not going to pass any of that along. He's very closed-mouthed to all this. He wants to make sure he makes money from it. I have a problem with his website because he won't list any prices. And basically, it's all the same stuff that he has listed many times. It's either dowsing-based or it is Malcolm Ray-based. It's pretty much identical copies of Malcolm Ray machines and Bruce Copen machines with his special amplification. And as I have not tested his stuff, and I was under the opinion he only communicated with me, which I told him who I was, and is a verification of the fact that I am a noted author, and I've been around for years. I'm not sure what website I had at that time, which was more metaphysically occult-based, unlike it is more now, which is more middle of the road. But regardless, he was not open to anything. He was not open to any discussions and of what this really works, and wouldn't give any information at all, even though he claims his technology is far beyond everybody else's. But like all of the stuff coming out of England and everything else, there are practitioners there. He's scared to death of the local authorities, apparently. I don't know if he's been warned off or other problems, but he wouldn't talk about that. He also seems to be out of the loop of what's really going on out there. He's at a very low level of understanding how the world works because he's successful. Everything's going fine for him. He lives in Google land up where the scones and the tea is. And of course, there's no freedom in England whatsoever for much of anything. So as we have problems with that, and certainly he did not get past that and didn't in any way extend a hand of friendship to try and make communication with and open up to another well-known person involved in the metaphysical area. He was into what do you want to buy, basically, is my ultimate takeaway from him. But getting back to the book, as he said, you can get this book out there. Maybe you can find it used. It's in the library for all access members. And you can read this, and I recommend it to get a background, especially if I've been in this business for over 50 years now, and of course Radionics for about 40 years, so I kind of know all this stuff. But, if you're new to this area, if you're fairly young, well, there's a big difference if you're 30 years old when I'm double your age, thinking about what you know or not. And a lot of these books are out of print. You can't get them anymore. Radionics is kind of weird. You can't go to some place to learn anything. People are selling you machines and giving you, 2 pages of training, and you don't really understand what you're doing. So we're coming out with courses to clarify all this in the future. But the bottom line is we do have a basic course right now. That is on CD that we give you empowered sigils, machines that you can start accessing the energy from. What he's giving you here, and there are several full-color pages in the book, which give it a nice additional feel, you will get a good background. And where else are you supposed to go? Well, basically, if you want to get a historical viewpoint with minor practical information in it, 21st Century Radionics is a great place to start. The other book is Mind Machines Where You Can Build. Now, this gives you practical how-to information from a person who has a good background. Mind Machines You Can Build by Stein is a very conservative military rocket scientist. Nick Franks is a guy who has studied the field, is a competent, trained homeopath, and has got into this field. So, I mean, there's two people that have basic information, and both of them have their problems like usual, and they don't seem open. Stein told me to kind of go F off when he saw that my letterhead said occult science on it. Nick Frank was just waiting to try and have me buy something from him. So, this is the kind of industry you're in. No camaraderie, no contact with each other, no exchange of information. Yes, a lot of people are, quote, in competition. I'm not sure what that means. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily be hostile or give your secrets out. You think people would communicate on a basic level of what this is all about. They don't do it. They have no interest in doing it, and that's the problem with all of them. Stein stated in his book, Mind Machines You Can Build, that he would be there to help. Well, I was there, Stein, and you weren't. And I only lived about 4 hours from Steiny. Nick Frank, of course, was just kind of giving me basic rubbish information to see if I would buy one of his machines, even though apparently, similar to Albert Abrams, seems to be loaded with dough. I don't know why he needs to do this, but, do you ever have enough? Huh, Franks? I don't know. I don't think you do. And this was one of the problems with Abrams, who kept selling machines for high prices and generating huge amounts of income when he should have been out there getting the technology established and out there. Now, with Abrams, it appears that he was trying to save money to make his own hospital. Well, he was quite wealthy. You couldn't do that without the cost of that. So what are we to make of that? If your technology is so great, old Nicky, well, where is it? And get it out there and let's see it work. But you just want to make money without having to stick your neck out a little or find doctors that will work with you. Well, you got the pull, you got the money. Well, why don't you do it? Well, it never happens. But in getting back to the book itself, well, the fact is that it's a good little book to give you history. And as I said, where else do you go? So 21st Century Radionics is recommended. Read it. So is Mind Machines You Can Build. This is your foundation to understand things. To move into more educated past that and to get a much better viewpoint, well, you get my CD course on Radionics Phase 1, which has been completed. Those are your ground and foundations for everything. This will give you an excellent understanding of the general technology out there, written by people who have an understanding of what's going on and who are, in their own way, experts in the field. And this is your foundation. Where else do you go? Well, these two books are critical in the bigger picture to get you there. So I hope everyone does that and enjoys it. Note the link below. The link below will have your access of where you can buy the book from Amazon. Remember, you want us to continue our research, show you what's inside machines, give you insider's information. Well, where are you? You should be an all-access member. Why aren't? It's $8 a month. Drink one less coffee a week, and you've got that. Also, you can see much more when you're a Patreon member. And gee, that's expensive too. $20 a month. Ooh, I can't do that to her. I gotta smoke the cigarettes. I need the booze. I need to get my ayahuasca. Well, you're going to get nothing from all that garbage. Support an organization that's out there to do something and give back so you can get potent information that will change your life and the world, because we're the only one doing it. We're the only one that have this. Look at the collection of items. You think those were free? Do you expect us to continue to give good information out when we have a modicum of support? So get out there and do it. Like this, subscribe, support us as best you can. It's not much money, and you'll be doing something of value. Give to an organization where the money does something of value instead of going down the proverbial hole. Because you're just flushing your money if you're giving it to anybody else. But you have to give it to people who are doing something of value. And that's IGOS and Dr. Thor. Until next time.